Support for our podcast comes from Symphony 3, which has announced exciting news. It's launched its innovative Smart Glue platform on the AWS marketplace. That makes the secure and affordable integration solution accessible to government agencies worldwide. The platform includes over 50 pre-built connectors specifically designed for public sector systems, government APIs, enterprise solutions and AWS services to transform citizen experiences by breaking down data silos. Smart Glue delivers operational excellence for local governments through cost reduction, process optimization, improved decision-making and scalable architecture, all while maintaining comprehensive security and compliance standards required by public sector organisations. Get in touch to see how Symphony 3's expanded team and solutions can support your goals. Head to symphony3.com to find out more. Coming up, more councils take issue with funding for lifeguard services. Townsville's controversial mayor resigns, but the long-running saga is not over. Calls for publication of Council FOI requests. A Sydney Council CEO reportedly negotiating a contract exit. A major financial restructure for a Queensland council. Supplementary election results from South Australia. A costly by-election in WA after a surprise resignation. And controversy over CEO recruitment at a New Zealand council. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. This is the Local Government News Roundup, back for a brand new week. It's Monday, the 29th of September. Our podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. A funding dispute between Lifesaving Victoria and local councils has intensified, according to The Age. After concerns were raised by Bass Coast Shire in recent weeks, Hobsons Bay Council now says it will not pay an $88,000 bill for lifeguard services at Altona and Williamstown beaches. Mayor Daria Callender said the cost, which historically has been covered by the state government, should come from the new ESVF levy, which receives $9 million from Hobsons Bay alone. Without council funding, Lifesaving Victoria says it will completely withdraw paid lifeguard services from Williamstown Beach and reduce patrols at Altona. Frankston Council said it would pay its bill under protest about cost shifting, while Port Phillip and Kingston Council say they're opposed to picking up the costs. Lifesaving Victoria says it's reviewing how it delivers paid lifeguard services due to rising costs and constrained funding. Hume City Council is facing mounting calls to publish all of its Freedom of Information requests and responses. Sunbury Life reported the council has acknowledged never previously considering making FOI materials public, but has indicated this could change as part of ongoing transparency policy reviews. The suggestion to proactively publish FOI data was raised through a public question at the Council's September 22 meeting. It comes after the Office of the Victorian Information Commissioner placed Hume among the top 5 councils for FOI complaints in November last year. Greater Dandenong Council has approved a $2 million parking meter modernisation program, featuring a 50-50 split between cashless and coin-operated machines. The contract, awarded to Duncan Solutions Australia, will upgrade the council's 135 parking metres across central Dandenong, Dandenong Market and Springvale's Balmoral car park. The Dandenong Star-Journal reported that the new pay-by-plate system will eliminate paper tickets, with users simply entering their registration numbers. Acting CEO Sanjay Manavasagasivam confirmed implementation is expected by year-end, with no immediate parking fee increases planned. Greater Geelong Council has decided against implementing additional tree protection controls on private land, opting instead to focus on community education through its refreshed urban forestry strategy. The decision comes after extensive public consultation, where 67.3% of respondents supported stronger tree protection measures. While housing development was identified as the primary threat to tree canopy, the council determined that new controls would duplicate those already being introduced by the Victorian Government's Plan for Victoria, which targets 30% urban canopy cover. Whittlesea City Council has voted to seek ministerial approval for new planning controls aimed at protecting environmentally significant areas in the municipality's northern green wedgeland. The proposed amendment would enhance biodiversity protection and clarify development regulations in sensitive areas, following discoveries of threatened species including brush-tailed phascogales, common donarts and powerful owls during extensive ecological research. At its meeting last week, the council also supported a notice of motion calling for stronger penalties to deter illegal rubbish dumping. Mayor Martin Taylor said stronger deterrents are needed to send a clear message that the behaviour is unacceptable and that residents should not unfairly bear the financial costs of cleaning up. In response to growing concerns from local farmers, Mansfield Shire Council has taken the initiative to address the pressing issue of livestock predation by facilitating a key stakeholder meeting earlier this month. The September 10th gathering brought together local farmers, government officials and environmental agencies to develop a coordinated approach to feral animal management in the region. While not directly responsible for feral animal control, the council has stepped in to connect affected residents with relevant authorities. A major outcome from the initial meeting is the promotion of the Feral Scan app as a centralised reporting system. And economic momentum is building in Glenelg Shire, with 3 major feasibility studies now underway, backed by over $1 million from the Portland Diversification Fund. The studies include a potential bulk liquid storage terminal for renewable fuels, an innovative seaweed facility that could reduce livestock methane emissions by up to 80%, and an interactive economic dashboard called Future Portland. Meanwhile, Victoria's largest ever battery storage project has been approved for Portland. The $1.3 billion facility will have enough capacity to power 345,000 homes during peak demand, creating 300 construction jobs and 60 permanent positions. The council's CEO Helen Havercroft said the initiatives are a proactive step towards building a more resilient economy, reflecting the strengths and potential of the region. Briefly, in other news making the local papers, Cardinia Shire Council will potentially double its debt to nearly half of rates revenue by 2029 to fund infrastructure needs, according to the Pakenham Berwick Gazette. Greater Geelong Council has adopted an outer areas heritage assessment study, proposing 20 significant historical sites for inclusion in a heritage overlay to protect them from unauthorised changes. More on that from the Geelong Independent. And South Gippsland Shire Council has voted to proceed with rezoning the Corumburra Senior Citizen Centre site, despite ongoing legal disputes about land ownership. The South Gippsland Sentinel Times reported the council voted down a motion from Councillor Steve Finlay to delay the process until ownership is resolved. And in more news in brief, the City of Whittlesea is planning a 6-month food organics recycling trial, offering local businesses an opportunity to reduce food waste sent to landfill while receiving free bins, collection services and staff training. Ararat Council's new clothing donation program has successfully diverted nearly 13,000 textiles from landfill in just 2 months, preventing 5.1 tonnes of CO2 emissions and 1.3 million item years of landfill persistence. And Federal Infrastructure Minister Catherine King will be the special guest speaker at the 2025 National Local Roads, Transport and Infrastructure Congress, being held in Bendigo on November 12. The Minister is expected to deliver an address on the federal government's national agenda and recent reforms at the Congress, which will focus on local roads funding, maintenance and infrastructure. This is the Local Government News Roundup for Monday the 29th of September, brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association with support from Symphony 3. The Chief Executive of City of Parramatta, Gail Connolly, is reportedly in negotiations to exit her role well before her contract expires in 2027. Sources close to the matter told the Sydney Morning Herald that Ms Connolly has engaged legal representation to negotiate terms of departure. It comes amid mounting troubles at the council, including a recent Supreme Court ruling that found Ms Connolly had improperly withheld documents from councillors in a censure matter against Councillor Kelly Darley. It's understood the council intends to appeal that finding. Ms Connolly has been with Parramatta since March 2023 and previously led Ryde and Georges River councils. The City of Newcastle is calling for the reinstatement of the Newcastle Show public holiday for next year and the year after a majority of community survey respondents supported the move. The Newcastle Herald reported that the proposal received majority council support as well, despite some councillors holding concerns about the impact on businesses who would need to pay penalty rates. Shoalhaven City Council has received an independent recommendation to proceed with commissioning and operating a new materials recovery facility in West Nowra. The $37 million facility will process recyclable materials at a rate of 15 tonnes per hour, with an annual capacity of up to 25,000 tonnes, and it will revolutionise how the council processes commingled products. It's also expected to create new revenue opportunities by capturing recycling waste from other councils. And Central Coast Council has released a draft dog management policy which proposes changing 2 off-leash beach areas to dog-free zones while designating the eastern end of Buttons Creek Beach as a new off-leash area. The policy also includes detailed guidelines on responsible dog ownership covering tethering, nuisance behaviour, complaints processes and after-hours services for collecting stray or aggressive dogs. Consultation continues till the 12th of October, after which it will go to councillors for consideration. In major news out of Queensland, Townsville Mayor Troy Thompson has resigned, bringing an end to an 18-month controversy surrounding his qualifications. The resignation comes just a week after the Queensland government issued him with a show cause notice. In a defiant video statement released on social media, Mr Thompson announced that he will recontest the position in the upcoming by-election, insisting his resignation is not an admission of wrongdoing, but rather a deliberate and principled stand. Mr Thompson defeated long-serving Mayor Jenny Hill in March 2024 and has been under scrutiny since after allegations emerged that he'd falsified parts of his resume. The scandal prompted an investigation by the Crime and Corruption Commission, and in June the council unanimously passed a no-confidence motion against him. Despite apologising for inflating parts of his record, Mr Thompson has refused to step down until now. In his resignation statement, he's made explosive accusations against the current council, alleging corruption and financial mismanagement, and called for the entire council to be dissolved. The Local Government Minister Anne Lay has received the formal resignation, and a date for the by-election is expected to be announced soon. Mark Pitt, PSM, has been reappointed as Chief Executive Officer of South Burnett Regional Council for an additional 4-year term from July next year through July 2030, following a unanimous decision by councillors. Mayor Cathy Duff said the extension aims to create stability and continuity for the region, highlighting the importance of operational and elected representatives working together under experienced leadership. Sunshine Coast Council is implementing a major financial restructuring after an independent audit revealed systemic shortcomings in its financial management processes, according to the Courier Mail. The audit was prompted by the discovery of a $20 million accounting error related to depreciation calculations, an error that reportedly accumulated over a 5-year period. The discrepancy forced council officials to delay the release of this year's budget. According to documents presented at a recent ordinary meeting, the council has already begun realigning its finance structure and has committed to implementing all recommendations made by the audit committee. Moreton Bay Council wants to see at least 1,500 new hotel rooms built before the 2032 Olympics to meet growing demand for accommodation. Mayor Peter Flannery told News Cop that there's a need for more hotel investment, and the council is targeting at least 10 more hotel projects beyond the 4 that are currently underway. The council is strategically focusing development in the northern and western parts of Moreton Bay, where significant population growth is expected, including 70,000 people in Warrabah and another 30,000 near the Bruce Highway. Let's round up supplementary election results from South Australia. 3 new members have been provisionally elected to Adelaide Hills Council after recent resignations. Lisa Woolcock has gained the position in Rangers Ward, while dairy farmer Richard Gladigo and winemaker Alan Trescothick have filled the 2 positions on offer in Valleys Ward. At the town of Gawler, acting Mayor Nathan Shanks has been elected narrowly over former Deputy Cody Davies as the town's new mayor after distribution of preferences. There's a new mayor of York Peninsula Council also, after a 2-candidate race was taken out by small business owner Kylie Gray, comfortably on first preference votes over Michael O'Connell, a retired high school principal and third-year councillor. The District Council of Orroroo-Carriton has held an election for 2 councillor positions with 3 candidates in the running. Roger Jesser and Julia Clark achieved quota in that order to be provisionally elected. Meanwhile, in Norwood, Payneham and St Peters, a supplementary election has been won by civil engineer Rita Excel from a field of 8. And at Mount Barker District Council, it was a 3-candidate race taken out by Anne Fordham, a federal public servant and hobby farmer. A busy election time in South Australian local government continues in October, with a supplementary election for 2 area councillor positions in the District Council of Kimber and another position on Norwood, Payneham and St Peters Council to be determined. OK, let's head to Western Australia. Of course, it is election season, with elections to be determined on the 18th of October in that state. And Melville Council has voted to hold a costly by-election next March after Councillor Thomas Fitzgerald resigned to pursue the mayoral position in neighbouring East Fremantle. Perth Now reported that the timing of Fitzgerald's September 4th resignation means the vacant position cannot be included in the upcoming October 18th elections, leaving Melville ratepayers to foot an estimated $80,000 bill for a separate election process. Council officials say they have explored every avenue to hold the election sooner or at lower cost, but were hampered by resource limitations and Electoral Commission regulations. It also means that the Palmyra-Melville-Willagee ward will effectively have only half its representation for nearly 6 months. The town of Port Hedland's new commissioners have approved the annual budget, ensuring service delivery for the next 12 months. Chairperson Jessica Shaw said the budget represents a balanced approach, with careful consideration given to both immediate needs and long-term planning. With special benefits introduced for owner-occupier residential ratepayers, the commissioners say they're supporting those who call Port Hedland home, while preparing the groundwork for the elected council that will take office in March next year. The commissioners were installed recently by the state government after a string of councillor resignations, culminating in a loss of quorum when Mayor Peter Carter stepped down in August. And Stacey Hutt has been appointed as the new CEO of LG Professionals WA, succeeding Candy Chu, who's heading to Leadership WA. Ms Hutt has worked across local government, community and private sectors in Western Australia and New Zealand. She takes up the position on the 20th of October. Now for our Monday edition of the Global Report. In New Zealand, controversy has erupted over the recruitment process for a new chief executive at the Queenstown Lakes District Council. Radio New Zealand has reported Councillor Nikki Gladding's claims that elected members were excluded from the initial stages of selecting a recruitment agency for the position. Mayor Glyn Lewis and the Chief Executive Performance Review Committee insist they've followed proper procedures and that councillors will be involved in the selection process following October's local body elections. The Mayor confirmed that the incoming council would make the final appointment decision. The current Chief Executive, Mike Thielen, announced his resignation in August, effective in February 2026. In the UK, Welsh council leaders have warned of potential job losses, service cuts and council tax increases unless additional funding is provided in the next budget. The Welsh Local Government Association told the BBC that a 7% budget gap cannot be addressed through current measures, while the Finance Secretary said funding will only rise with inflation ahead of the 2026 election. The Welsh Government has acknowledged the pressures and says it's in regular discussions with local authorities about alleviating the challenges. In New York, the City Council Speaker Adrian Adams has postponed a scheduled vote on proposed changes to the council's internal rules following concerns from fellow council members. The vote was originally set for this week on a 44-page proposal that was introduced less than a week ago. City and State New York reported that the proposal includes several controversial provisions that would increase the Speaker's power, such as raising the number of members needed to move a bill to the floor against the Speaker's wishes from 7 to 11. A council spokesperson said the proposals stem from work dating back to 2023 and include input from members, good government groups and other stakeholders. No new date has been set for the vote, but discussions are continuing. In Canada, City of Ottawa employees will be required to return to the office 5 days a week starting January 1st, following a City Council vote that upheld City Manager Wendy Stephenson's mandate. CTV News reported that the Council voted 15-10 to support the policy, while maintaining flexibility for hybrid arrangements where appropriate. The decision has sparked protests from municipal unions and advocacy groups who argue that hybrid work models have proven effective. Despite the opposition, Stephenson maintains that increased office presence is necessary for building relationships, knowledge transfer and strengthening public trust. Mayor Mark Sutcliffe defended the decision as an HR matter that should remain under the city manager's authority. And Saskatoon City Council has approved the demolition of Marquee Downs, ending more than 5 decades of horse racing history in the city. CTV News reported the historic racetrack, which has sat unused since 2020, will be torn down along with its grandstand and horse barns, structures that city administration claims have reached the end of their serviceable life. Prairieland Park, which leases the city land for just $100 annually, plans to convert the area into a gravel parking lot for the immediate future, with potential redevelopment plans expected next year. The decision has sparked some criticism from the community, with the horse racing community expressing particular dismay. Previous plans to repurpose the site for a professional soccer stadium were abandoned in recent years due to funding challenges. And now you're up to date with the latest from the Local Government News Roundup. This was edition number 497, recorded on the morning of Monday the 29th of September 2025. You can find out more information about the episode, including story links where available, at lgnewsroundup.com. The podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, with the Council Census coming away from the 6th of October, with support from Symphony 3, now available worldwide on the AWS Global Marketplace. The Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. And we come your way every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Until our next edition, thanks for listening and bye for now. The VLGA's Victorian Councillor Census is back again in 2025. All councillors in Victoria will be emailed the census on the 6th of October and will have until the end of the month to complete. In its second year, the annual census captures and tracks councillor demographics, attitudes and the key challenges to local governance over time. You don't need to be a VLGA member to participate, and at no stage will the VLGA have access to an individual's responses. The findings of the census will inform, influence and lead conversations across local government and with other tiers of government, and all responses will be fully confidential. This is your chance to have your voice heard as a councillor. The Councillor Census is part of the VLGA's commitment to support councillors on their journey to be successful community representatives.